I'm Matt Cleathermos. I am back once again for the 7th episode of Underrated Movies. And I'm going to talk about an underrated gem. I saw it earlier this year in 2013. This is one that does not have a DVD release, which is unfortunate. And that is the movie Curtains. Curtains came out in 1983. It has a runtime of 1 hour and 33 minutes. It's got Samantha Eggar and John Vernon in it. And I have to say, I really like both of them. Samantha Eggar was great in the movie The Brood. If you haven't seen The Brood by David Cronenberg, I highly recommend you do. If you're a horror film fan. Even if you enjoy horror films occasionally, it's worth a watch. But talking more about Curtains is, a lot of critics at the time thought it was too gory. By today's standards, it's actually pretty damn tame, really. It's more of a horror thriller and suspense than anything, and a slasher film. And it's one of those kind of whodunit type of things where you have to figure out who the killer is. It's a mass killer, and the mass killer is actually quite creepy. This is not a very good photo of the masked killer, but it's an old lady. Here, it's like an old. I would like to what K&B Effects refer to as is this would be a hideous, heinous horror hag. So this is the hideous, heinous horror hag. This is a Canadian horror film, much like the likes of. Well, anyways. I will mention that later because I have another horror review too. It just popped in my head. It's like, wait, that one's underrated too. I should review it. So sometimes I get ideas when I make films and stuff. But talking more about Curtains is Curtains wasn't well received by American audience. Now in other parts of the world it was pretty well received and they got decent DVD releases, but not in America, fuckers. And it's Canadian and Americans just didn't care for it. I don't know why. And one thing that annoyed me about the critics is they just ripped on this movie. And it's so original. This movie predates Scream. And I would say that it was probably a possible influence on Scream. I wouldn't deny that. It's a movie that I wanted to own when I saw it, and it really creeped me out. I hadn't seen anything that creeped me out in a real long while. Not since I was like the age of 20 when I saw Henry Portrait of a Serial Killer. So this really creeped me out, and I was like, I gotta own that movie. I wonder if it's on DVD. Then I found out it wasn't, and then eventually I was able to bootleg it and make this glorious packaging for it. Could be a little better though. It's a little blurry, but it will suffice, I guess. And this is the plot of Curtains. I'm going to read you the plot synopsis of the movie. 6 beautiful actresses gather in a remote New England mansion for the most important role of their careers. Audra, the psychotic character of Jonathan Stryker's troubled new film. Stryker is a legendary theatrical guru, a man notorious for his melancholy both on and off screen. The actresses submit to Stryker's. It's hard for me to read because it's a little blurry, so you have to bear with me. The actresses submit to Stryker's desire addiction, shadowed by an emerging actress who refuses to admit she cannot play Audra. As the weekend unfolds with Stryker's desire focusing on explosive atmosphere, the trapped and terrified women are mysteriously murdered. Only one will survive to be the last in the role of Audra before the final curtain falls. So, pardon me for stopping while reading the synopsis. The packaging on this is kind of fucking blurry. It didn't print out as well as it should have. And it just was kind of hard for me to read part of it, but that's the best I could read it. and that's all of it. And there's a great tagline too. I love the tagline. There's two. This is the tagline: is 6 beautiful girls trying to get ahead. When the curtains fall, 5 will be dead. The ultimate nightmare. Curtains. What's not to like about this movie? I mean, really, the complaints about this movie aren't very justified in any way. I mean, this is one of those that I know that it has a ton of fans and it's circulating over the internet. That's where it's getting its. I think it's destined to be a cult classic. It may, in my opinion, it already is, really. But a lot of people overlook this movie. You know, they look at other horror films like Friday the 13th and that, and they forget about this. You know, this little hidden gem that was from the early 80s, and that did not get a DVD release as of yet, but I hear that it's going to from Synapse Films. And Synapse Films is a company that's known for releasing such glorious, gory horror hits such as the Frank Henenlotter movies Basket Case and Brain Damage. So, you know, it's in good hands. That's a company that I really trust, and I think that they'll release a good DVD release of Curtains. And I hope that this review was informal, and I hope that the hideous, heinous horror act doesn't come to your house and kill you. Fuck off and die.